Um,
Right, we're live
okay.
on Twitch.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. Hey folks, welcome to our live stream. My name is Shedrack Akintayo and I am a developer advocate at the Cloud Foundry Foundation. And today we are going to be deploying 10 apps to Kubernetes with Cloud Foundry CF for Kids. And with me, I have a couple of I have people with me, Ram and Tiffany. So Ram and Tiffany, could you just introduce yourselves?
I'll let you go first, Ram.
Thanks. Hey, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are in right now. And welcome to what is possibly the first of many live streams that we're going to host about Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes and all things related to like modern app development and deployment. My name is Ram. I am a developer advocate at the Cloud Foundry Foundation. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with Shadrach and Tiffany.
Aw. Yeah, so I'm Tiffany Jernigan, also a developer advocate, however, not at Cloud Foundry. I'm at VMware, so I'm the slight oddball also in the fact that for me it's morning and it's evening for them. So people might be at various levels of tired just for different reasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our first stream with all of us together, so this will be fun.
Yeah, sure. So you might be wondering, so who is this particular stream for? This is just for anybody that wants to get started with Kubernetes, or if you have experience deploying apps to Kubernetes, we show you how to do it the Cloud Foundry way. How fast you can easily deploy applications to Kubernetes with Cloud Foundry, and how you can easily get started with Kubernetes. So before we go to the deploying of apps, we just want to talk about certain things like what Cloud Foundry is, what Safe for Kids is. Just going to share a slide with everybody real quick. Uh, yeah. So so Cloud Foundry is basically a platform as a service that makes it easy to deploy and operate applications. So you can deploy whatever kind of application that you want to deploy on Cloud Foundry. It could be Java, it could be JavaScript, it could be Ruby, Go, whatever application you want, you can easily deploy it on Cloud Foundry. And yeah, that's basically what you can use Cloud Foundry for. The best part of using Cloud Foundry is its developer experience. Cloud Foundry makes it very, very easy for developers to deploy and operate the application, even monitor the application, etc. Like, it gives you so much flexibility when it comes to deploying and monitoring your applications in general. Next would be to talk about Safe for Kids, and I think Tiffany would be the right person to talk about that. So Tiffany.
Cool. All right. So like one of the things that we often hear is that with teams that work fast basically is like, okay, how this past experience is awesome. And then, oh, I really like Kubernetes. It's really good. And basically it's becoming the de facto way for people to manage their applications in production. But unfortunately, people are having to decide, okay, do I want to use PaaS or do I want to use Kubernetes? And is it like, do I want to use PaaS to help the developer experience? Do I want to use Kubernetes to help modernize my platform operations? So basically, the Cloud Foundry community came together to solve the problem of having to decide between one or the other. Now people don't actually have to pick one or the other. You can enjoy the convenience of having PaaS, while operators can also ensure that the apps get deployed to Kubernetes-based infrastructure. So like, in short, basically you can have that CF push experience if you've used Cloud Foundry before, and then be able to just run either your applications that are in containers or have it build them for you with your code. And you can just use CF push and you can run those applications on Kubernetes. And there's 2 links to kind of get to looking at CF for Kids. There's the main website, and since CF for Kids is open source, you can find it on GitHub as well. And of course, you can contribute too. So Also, recently, CF for Kates, they just had the 1.0 release milestone. So that just happened around the previous Cloud Foundry summit. So you can take a look into some of the videos that have happened for that.
Yeah, thank you, Tiffany. So the next thing we'd probably want to do is just like get started on deploying stuff. Before we get started, I just want to say that what you can like take away from this live stream, what I hope we take away from this live stream is you need to understand how Cloud Foundry makes you deploying your applications to Kubernetes very easy, and what Cloud Foundry can provide, the value Cloud Foundry can provide to your developer and development team, irrespective of your team size. It could be 10, it could be 20, it could just be an individual developer. Cloud Foundry caters for like every single type of development team. So we just show you how fast and how um, powerful Cloud Foundry for Kubernetes is. So the first thing I want to do is obviously just deploy a Node app. So I'm going to be
Hey,
deploying to Node.
Shedrar.
Yeah.
Sorry to just like interrupt you, but I thought maybe I'll take a minute or two to set the stage for what the demo is actually going to be and talk a little bit about why we are doing that. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I
Slow
forgot about that for a
down.
second. I forgot about that for a second. I'm too excited about it.
It's okay. I talked fast too. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm sure you are. So, I mean, both of you made some great points earlier about, um, you know, developers having to choose between PaaS tooling and wanting to go the Kubernetes route and having to make choices and stuff like that. So, I think for a lot of teams, whether they're like big teams in big organizations or they're just small teams that are starting out, a lot of folks have come to realize that you can begin in a Kubernetes native path. It's not like Kubernetes is only after we've scaled to like 50 developers on the team or after we've hit like 1,000 concurrent users or something like that. Kubernetes is, like Tiffany mentioned, it's becoming the de facto standard for modern app development. And so the developer experience obviously has to come in and make things less complicated and simplify it, so to say. So what we wanted to demonstrate today is a set of exercises, so to say, that will basically alleviate a lot of the concerns that people might have. So whenever we talk about a new tool, everybody has apprehensions about, okay, if there's an abstraction that you're introducing, then you're bound to hit so-called law of leaky abstractions. So and people are, just, I don't want to call developers and programmers a pessimistic lot, although it's not like far from the truth, but it's a set of valid concerns that folks have, whether or not this will suit our workflows, whether or not Cloud Foundry will be able to handle the languages and frameworks that we use. So maybe some of you use something as popular as like JavaScript and Node.js. Maybe some folks are using Clojure or like Scala or Akka. There's folks out there that might be using something very niche, and the Cloud Foundry promise is that the community really has come together to ensure that every language and framework is supported. So one of the recent data points that emerged from our Cloud Foundry user survey is Cloud Foundry is being used to deploy over 18 different languages and frameworks at different scales. So some folks are using so Cloud Foundry deployments can vary anywhere between like 50 apps in production to well over 1,000 applications in production, and all kinds of different applications are making use of different languages and frameworks. So we counted over 18 different languages and frameworks that have been tried and battle tested running on Cloud Foundry, and I'm not including Java in that, because like we're when it comes to like Java and Spring and stuff, Cloud Foundry is obviously quite popular in that line. So that is basically what we wanted to demonstrate today. So 10 different applications that are built in different frameworks and use different languages, all deployed using Cloud Foundry. And we're throwing in some Docker containers for good measure as well. So yeah, just wanted to take a couple of minutes to set the stage up for what the demos are going to be. And we've picked open source code bases as much as we could. So some of the, not some, pretty much all of the code that we'll be using today is available out there on different repos that you can get to at any point if you wish to do so.
Okay,
For the
thank you,
stage
Ram.
setting.
Yeah, thanks for that. Let's get right into it. So the first thing I'll be deploying is a Node.js app. So this particular Node.js app just displays hello world, and it's part of the test apps for CF4K. It's on the CF4K GitHub repo. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. And I'm just going to share my screen so we can get started. Yeah. So I'm currently in the folder.
Try to increase your font size.
Yeah, I'm about to do that. Okay. I think this is okay. So,
that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm currently in the CF4Kids folder, and I'm currently in the Node folder. And if I run ls, so we have a package.json, we also have a server. So for me to deploy this to Cloud Foundry, I'm just going to log in into my Cloud Foundry cluster, running on G Cloud, on Google Cloud. So just log in, the API endpoint is already specified, and just need to so I'm just going to move into an organization, then select the space. So we're going to use live stream. So we're going to talk more about what spaces and what organizations are. So an organization is like and let's just say an actual organization. So a space is where certain points that you can deploy applications. So it could be development, it could be tests, it could be staging, depends on how your entire development workflow works. So I named a space called live stream because obviously this is a live stream, and that is where I'll be deploying the app. So to deploy the app, all I just need to do is, yeah, sure.
I just wanted to make a point here. So one of the interesting problems that gets talked about whenever we speak about Kubernetes-based deployment is multi-tenancy, and in this case, Shadrach, logged into a Kubernetes endpoint, and then the admin, whoever, had set up an organization for that user, and they had set up like different spaces. So spaces are sort of where the apps tend to get staged, and you can have organizations and spaces within these organizations. So you can create as many as you want, and all of those tenants basically sit next to each other, and Cloud Foundry just out of the box solves this problem of multi-tenancy over Kubernetes. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you, Ram, for that. So to get started, all I just need to do now is to push the application. So to push my application to Cloud Foundry, I just need to run a single command, which is cf push, then give it the name of the app. So let's just say test node. Then we run the application, and it takes a few seconds to push the app. So it's currently pushing the app test node to org sample org. Then the space, which is live stream as admin, it is currently uploading and staging the app and tracing the logs for the app. So it takes a few seconds to deploy, and Okay.
So what's basically happening here, Shadrach?
Yeah. So what's basically doing is it's connecting to okay, that's too fast. Okay, I'm just going to explain, go up and explain it real quick. So it is automatically connected to the workspace where we deploy, the way we connected our G Cloud to, and it's currently searching for build packs that matches the application we've deployed. So if, as you can see, we have Packetto build packs, Node engine. We also have npm install. So basically, it's just pulling in the Node build pack that has npm and that npm basically. So our application is a Node app. So Cloud Foundry automatically recognizes the type of application that we have and begins to use the specific build pack for it, which is the Packetto build pack, which is the Cloud Foundry project, and it's based on the cloud native build pack specification. Then from there, it installs it and begins to configure the environment. And from there, it's of course it picks up the command for starting the application, which is node server.js. That's basically most of the way we actually deploy. We start node applications in the JavaScript community. So it's just node server.js. We always have a server that starts our entire application. Then it builds the entire application and starts the application. So as you can see, the instances was starting, and we have the name of the app, which is test node. We also have the requested states, which is started, then the route. So the route is a unique link where we can find the application deployed live. So we're going to be checking that in a few seconds. We have the number of instances and the memory usage of the app, and also the start command, which is node server.js. And if you can see the states, the application is currently running, the memory. So if I should click on this, okay, so I just have to share this particular screen. Okay, so this is the route that was generated when we deployed our application, which is test node app. Then so the reason why the connection is not private is because it's an HTTP and it's also an IP, so it doesn't really affect you in any way. So if I should click on this, we can see hello world. So this is our application deployed live using Cloud Foundry. So that's all there is to it. There's not so much that there is to deploying apps on Cloud Foundry with CF4Ks. There's not so much. So that's basically all. What we just done is we've just deployed an application to Kubernetes with Cloud Foundry. Actually, one thing you've noticed is we did not write any YAML file. We did not do any special configuration. All we just had to do was just to run a specific command, cf push, and name of the app, and we are good to go. So that's that. For my next trick, I would be deploying a full application, which is a currency converter with Cloud Foundry. So I mean, most tutorials we see these days, most demos we see these days, just hello world, but we need to take it like up a bit to show how it works for in a real world scenario. So I'm just going to quickly move into into the folder for the application that I'm going to deploy. So it's going to take, we just have to navigate towards that. So bear with me. So it's a single page application built with Node. And so let me just quickly show you what contains this particular folder. So of course the license, readme.md, just server, just how a basic Node application should look like. So to deploy, like I've specified, just cf push, then let's call it node SPA, then just put demo and push. So it will go through the same steps I've explained. It's going to first recognize the type of application that has been that is currently being pushed, package the files that is needed to the upload it to the server, and connects to API, the Cloud Foundry API, and begins to deploy. So takes a few seconds also.
So
It's
are
currently
we going to see the same sort of build packs and other things here?
Yeah, because
And
it's the Node
so
app. Yeah.
the files that get uploaded here is all of these things that you just showed. So like server.js and all of
Yeah.
these
So
other things.
for the most part, it will only deploy every single thing except the node modules folder. So the node
That's
modules
good.
folder is extremely large. Yeah, it does not need to install that. It will install it on the Cloud Foundry server by itself with the Node.js build pack that already has npm. So if you can see, it does stuff with npm here, and it also runs most of the npm commands. So you do not need to upload. Automatically does not upload your node modules folder. So you don't need to do any git ignore. It just automatically does not deploy a node folder. It does everything when it's so as you can see, our application has started. Few seconds, node SPA demo started, then also generated a route for us to check it out, and also the start command, the instances, so just the same process. So if I should click on this link to go to my application, let me also share my browser. Okay, so this is the generated route. Then if I should click on this. So this is our application deployed live. I mean, we do not need to do anything specific, anything special, just a single command. So it shows the current currency rate as against to the euro. So exchange rates just basically grabs historical rates. And okay, so this is for my end.
Yeah, it has to happen during a demo, right? So
Yeah,
that's fine.
it always happens. Yeah, so I can also make convert currency but that would just take too long. So yeah, that's it. We just deployed two separate node apps to Cloud Foundry without even doing anything special, just a single command, which is cf push, then the app name, and we are live. So yeah, that's pretty much how you can deploy a node app to CF4K, Cloud Foundry for Kubernetes, as fast as possible. Very easy. You do not need to know any like serious stuff, just one single command, cf push, and your application would be live for you to test. And you can also add certain things like SSL if you want. You can add connect a domain name to it if you want. So yeah, that's pretty much how you can deploy a node app. So let's just reiterate, I deployed a static node app, which is just displays hello world, typical for a typical demo. Then I went up and deployed the full stack application, which has a client side and a server side, and is built with Node. And I deployed it on Cloud Foundry, and it was really, really fast. So that's how you can deploy a Node.js application to see a Cloud Foundry for Kubernetes, which I think is pretty cool and fast. Personally, for myself, I'm not so good with Kubernetes. I'm just like learning myself. So Cloud Foundry makes it very easy for me to interact with Kubernetes and actually do stuff Kubernetes without most of the technical know-how that goes on the ground when it comes to interfacing with Kubernetes. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love Cloud Foundry. So I think the next
So
up
is
would be
this
Tiffany.
comparable
Yeah,
to
sure.
a lot of the other, very fast Jamstack deployments that we are seeing these days? Would Cloud Foundry work with those technologies?
Yeah, sure. Cloud Foundry is ready and battle tested for any single technology you want to jump, whether Jamstack, whether just static sites, etc. So I'll also be showing a static site example much later in this live stream. So yeah, so much later. Like so, Cloud Foundry caters for every single part of the software development ecosystem. So next up would be Tiffany. Tiffany would just take us through some deploying a couple of applications, and then Ram takes over and go on like that. So Tiffany, the stage is yours.
Oh, thanks. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. I assume you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so first I just wanted to show like where some of these things are that I'm gonna be running. So I'm gonna be running like the node one that was just saying hello world. I'm just gonna show example of doing that in Python. So if you go to Cloud Foundry CF acceptance tests, there's test in multiple different languages. So if you want to just like test something really simple to make sure everything works properly, you can do that. So if you just like scroll here, it's very short. It sets up a server and then basically just says hello Python world. Another application that I'm going to be showing is Spring Music. So basically, if you've never used Java before, there's Spring, which helps make it a lot easier and quicker to be able to create some of your applications. You can just go, I think it might just be like spring.io or something. Yeah, if you want to just start for the first time, there's start.spring.io. And so basically for this one, it ends up, it's a little more complicated in the sense of first you have to use Gradle to actually build your application. And then you can go and either, if you want, you can just like run it locally to make sure everything works there. And then you can end up also using CF to do a CF push once you've actually built it. And then this application, basically, which I'll show also, it has different like artists with albums and things like that. So the third one, or like the other one that I'm going to be showing, is in Go. So these ones are both, the last two are both under Cloud Foundry samples. So that's another GitHub repo, and we can share the links to all these things afterward. But so basically this one is just like, it's a simple Go web app. You can go and look to see like what the environment variables are, and there's just like a few different things that you can, different endpoints that are set up for the web UI. So I will kind of show what all those things are in it when I actually run them. So, oops. Okay, so basically I pulled down everything already. So the first thing that I'm going to end up running is just the Go app, since it takes a little bit longer, so that way I can sort of parallelize some of this. So basically, if I just go to the Go app, you can see all the different things. All the things in here are basically what I just pulled down from that site. So depending on how you want to name it, like there's a manifest.yaml, you can decide if you want to have randomization at the end of your application name. If you did just a CF push and didn't give it a name, it would take your directory folder, and depending on whether you want randomization or not, it could tack on something random at the end of it, which is useful, especially if you're running in the same application name, or whether it's in the same space or in a different one, because it's all using the same like the same static IP and however you set it up. So if we just do a CF push, and I'm just gonna call this the same thing, Go app. So I'm running in a different cluster since I'm not working for Cloud Foundry, and it just seemed easier with how the setup would be of access and permissions and all that kind of stuff. So while this one is setting up, I'm going to kick off some of the other ones, then come back to these other ones. And apparently my screen just does not like me today. All right, so the next one I'm going to run is Spring Music. So to also just like show how, if I did just a CF push, I'm just going to run CF push on this one and not actually give it the name, so we can take a look at what that ends up being. And then the last one I am going to run is the Python one, and that again is like the hello world one. So you can just, for this one there, you can see there's just only a few files. Like you can kind of compare like seeing how many different things are in one directory versus in the other. Like this, the Go one has multiple directories in there that have your libraries and all the other things that you're going to be running. So if I also do CF push here, and I can just call it Python hello or something like that, whatever I feel like doing. So depending on like how big your application is, it obviously can take more time. So like some of the applications that were just run, those took maybe like a minute, or some can take 2. It just kind of depends on, again, like how much code do you have? How much is there to do? So here we can see like what was happening with the other ones. So basically it's checking, okay, what what kind of application is this? What build packs Paketo build packs are doing? And Paketo build packs are open source Go packages that are written in Go. And it doesn't only work, obviously, it's using it for all of these, so it's not just only in Go. So basically, like, it's checking, okay, so there's for the distribution, there's build, and then there's the proc file, and it has like the versions, and basically then it checks, okay, did I already do this? Does this already exist? And I'm pushing this to my Docker registry. So it like basically in order for KPack, which is what is going through and building these things, building your applications, you need to have a container registry signed in. So like for me, I just am using Docker Hub since it's pretty easy to just have that logged in since I have Docker for Mac running, for instance. So then what it goes and does after that is it's like, okay, so I need to actually, I'm installing Go. And so depending on like how you can change some of the different things that are happening and what build packs and whatnot in the manifest that you end up creating. So you can choose some of the things you want, or you can just have it go as it would be by default. So then basically it goes through and it deals with the build targets. It goes and then creates the different layers for your images, or for your image, and then does different caching layers. So then after that, you'll see like instances starting as things get started up. And then once it's done, basically you'll see, okay, here's what your app is. So then we have this route. So this one is the one that I ran with just like, I didn't give it us like, so it gives, sorry, my throat's getting dry, one moment. So the way that this is set up, it was the Go app, and then it ended up giving it like the random thing, which you may be used to if you're running Docker. So then there's the .apps. So the 104 stuff. So basically what I have is I have a static IP, and there's this website called zip.io. So I can just show that real quick. So basically an easy way to be able to run CFRKs is if you use zip.io. Basically it's wildcard DNS. And so you have your static IP and it will end up using zip.io. The other option is you can actually set up all the DNS things yourself and then use your own domain, etc. But for demo purposes, we don't need something like that. So then basically we could just go to this location here. And then so basically, since it's not set up with things aren't set up to use HTTPS, it's being like, oh no, this is not private. So well, I guess I did something. Oh yeah, there we go, proceed. It feels a little awkward being like that, but yeah, so basically this is just like showing the index, how long this app has been up. There were like the different things I mentioned with like /env, so you can see like all the different things that are there. And then you can just go to different like at points to see different things that are coming up. So like if we look quickly back at this, you can see like you can have it exit, you can check the index, etc. So it's just very simple test app. So then if we go over to Spring Music, so as we can see, this one here, it's dealing with build packs. There's a lot more going on with how this is. So it has stuff for CA certificates as Bellsoft. So that's for Java. There's this with Spring Boot for Spring. And then you can see that in this one, like there's, okay, what Java version am I using? Like, what are all these specific configurations that I have? And then it goes through and it has the layer based on the Java runtime that you have. So like one thing you have to make sure of is that your runtime version that you're using to build the application matches with what is being run here. So you can set that up in your code, for instance. So then afterward, you can see there's just a lot more happening here with the launch helper, there's JVM kill, like all these things are specific to Java. And then it goes and there's an executable jar, there's the task, and there's the web app. So you can see it's happening, it's doing more for all of these specific things because there's a lot more pieces to this application. And so then afterward, if we go here to this one, and also like you can see here, there's a few things that happen. There's the web, there's executable jar, there's the task, and then it creates an instance for the web.
Just out of curiosity, are these three different things something that you configured, or is it something that the build packs decided, and that is how it came about?
Yeah, so if let's see, I personally did not, but if we like, so if we cat this manifest.yaml, it just has a few things for like environment stuff and things set up and where to put the path. But basically the rest was handled by the build packs. If we look at source, you can see that there's, oops, it keeps going. There we go. Oh gosh, what did I do? Oh yeah, so yeah, basically you can see just there's different things in there. There's like the web, and yeah, basically it handles it itself. You don't have to specifically go through and deal with all of that, which is really nice. If we go back over here. So as I mentioned, this is just one of this. So there's like two of the main apps that people will show around for Spring. So there's Spring Music and there's Spring Pet Clinic, which basically you have like a little pet clinic. You can add people with their pets and stuff. So like here you can see you can sort things, you can add albums. I could delete, I could edit something and say that this actually happened in, I don't know, 1866. So you can just edit it and just like see that actually if I go and refresh it like that, it kept it there. So it actually stores that information in the database. So you have everything here and you can play around with it and give it to, if I gave this link to, if any of you used it, you would be able to see this as well. And then if we go look at the Python one, as expected, like this one was a lot simpler, so it should be a lot shorter. So again, this one is going through and it's like, oh, hey, this is Python code. I am going, like, I have pip for, I have the Python runtime, I have pip, I have procfile also. So basically it's just going through and building it. There was a configuration for like what the Python path would be. And then you can see like, just like if you're normally using like pip or using Python, you can see that it's just running what is running in the actual application. And then it's just going through adding all of those layers and then starts the application. So this one is the very simple one that I mentioned. So if we go here real quick. So yeah, it just says, hello Python world. So you can kind of see real quick here, this one took 2 minutes and 31 seconds. This one took 3 minutes and 4 seconds, and then this one took 2 minutes and 33 seconds. You can kind of see that a little bit based on like, some of it's based on language, some of it's based on like how big the applications are. And to just quickly show one more thing before I pass it off, if you do CF apps, it's a little bit slow on my machine. Basically, I guess as that's running, I'll just also run CF routes. So there's CF routes and CF apps. So this thing shows like the domain and what the host is. So like that path that I was showing to get to all of those different applications. So you can see all these different test space, what the apps are, and the routes that got set up. And then if we go back here, it's a little stretched out, but basically you can also see here's the route that was created. What are the processes? So like this one is just the web. This is also just web. And this is the one that is the Spring Music that had multiple things that were happening in it. So I think I'll pass it off now to Ram, and then we can go into some of this other stuff more in depth afterward.
Yeah, Ram, you're take the stage.
Cool. All right, so I am going to be deploying a PHP app first. It's based on the Lumen framework. So it's basically like a very straightforward composer-based app. So for anybody who's trying to do composer-based stuff, so you basically initiate the composer install before you do the CF push. So I'm going to, I have done the CF push before this. So CF, the composer install before this. So I'm just going to just go ahead and push this stuff. So um, this is, I think, app number 6. I don't know if anybody is keeping count, but I'll just add it there for good measure. So one of the things that you can do, and both Tiffany and Shadrach have been showing this, is Cloud Foundry tends to detect build packs on its own based on what's available in the source. You can also explicitly specify build packs in the command that you use to start the app or push the app, or you could include it in what is known as a manifest file. So sometimes it just helps save a little time in waiting for the build pack detect phase. So for those of us who are Formula One fans and care about those milliseconds of delay, I guess it's can be very useful.
So what are some of the things that you can like do with the manifest?
There's sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, there's that whole thing about like whether you have the random route, which like if you saw with mine, like the Python one didn't have a random route and some of the other ones did. Like you can have like set up also like the name is in there, and then like what are some like other things? I think there's like memory.
Yep. I mean, at the basic thing is you can, I think, set the name of the app. So you can specify what the name of the app is going to be. I think that's one of like the primary parameters. And then you can specify how much memory to allocate to the application. You can specify start commands as part of the manifest file. You can also specify what build packs to put in there. And there's also another YAML file in the form of buildpack.yaml that plays a sort of complementary role. If there's some very specific and custom steps that you need to take in order for the app to be deployed, and if there are very specific dependencies and versions of, let's say, PHP or Composer or other things, you can specify all of those in either of these two files, and it'll Cloud Foundry will pick it up during deployment. So now the app has basically completed the deployment, and the blocks are pretty much the same. So here's like the source code being uploaded to the Cloud Foundry Cloud Controller, I think is the module. So and then build packs kick in. Obviously in this case I specified what the build packs were, so it probably took like a little less time. It picked up like default versions for Composer and PHP, and the PHP build pack basically kicked in and did a lot of the um, it did all of the containerization by building a lot of different layers that is part of the container that finally got deployed. So the app now resides at this route. So if I paste that in a browser, go past the scary warning screen, that's basically my app that is running. Not very informative, but just a simple Lumen application that's demonstrating some of the stuff here. So yeah, let's move on to like other apps. So next I have like a Sinatra application. So I
What is
wanted
Sinatra?
so it's a lightweight Ruby framework. So this is a Ruby based application, and this is the deployment, I guess, is just straightforward. I'll just talk through it once I kick it off. So this is app number 7, I think. Let's see what that does. So Sinatra is basically, like I mentioned, a lightweight Ruby framework. I just picked like a good stateless example. So if you notice, I haven't specified the build pack in this case. It's let's see if Cloud Foundry actually detects it, but you will notice that it might be slightly slower than the PHP deploy. So it goes through the various steps. It detects what build packs are necessary. Again, Ruby is kind of a first-class citizen in CF land. I guess historically, Heroku and all of these other sort of PaaS players have had Ruby as an important piece in their whole cog. So Cloud Foundry is obviously no different. So it picked up the Ruby installers, the the Paketo build packs, interestingly, work in layers. So if you've not already noticed, it just adds layer upon layer upon layer to the actual immutable container that it builds. So one of the advantages of having these in layers is when you update the app, it's basically going to replace some of the layers that have changed and leave the rest of the container as it is. And one of the advantages of using Paketo is this rebasing of layers that they call it. So, and the instance where this came into most use was when the Heartbleed uh, vulnerability was solved, because folks had like hundreds and thousands of containers and they had to basically like restart each one after restaging them. It took them a long time, whereas for folks that were using build packs, it was just going in and replacing a single layer in an app registry, as opposed to replacing each individual container and restarting it. So it became as simple as replace this layer inside the single container registry, and every application just picks it up from there. And the vulnerability is basically mitigated in a quantum of minutes as opposed to hours and weeks and months. So I'll get into a little bit more detail right after we check if this works. So this is our Ruby application. Pardon the thing. So it's basically running, and just some fancy messaging there. And then in the end, I just also wanted to show like just push like a container directly from my container registry, as opposed to doing something from source. So I'm sure a lot of folks who are watching are people who are in the business of using containers already. It's probably part of your CI/CD strategy in some form or level. And if you are wondering if Cloud Foundry provides a migration path for folks that are already using Dockerized deployment methods, the answer is you can directly push CF. You can directly push containers to CF, and because there's a Kubernetes running at the end of the tunnel, CF has a way to just take your Dockerized images and deploy them to Kubernetes. So let me just kick off the deployment, and we can talk about it. App number 8. There's a Docker flag that you have to specify, and then I'm going to use an image. I don't know if you can see this. Maybe this is better. I'm going to use an image that's in my Docker Hub. Obviously, the way. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there anything that you have to do to be able to run Docker containers?
Yeah, so after you install CF for Kits, which is the tool that is actually functioning beneath all of this, there is a flag that you set. So let's see, CF feature flags. I think so. There's like a handful of feature flags that you have, and Diego, which is sort of the historically named container
Distribution system.
Tool
Content,
for
yeah.
CF. The name still sort of sticks. So you enable this flag in order to be able to deploy Docker images. And then once you do that, you can start deploying these containers directly. So this one is obviously no build packs, no uploading of source code to Cloud Foundry. It's slightly different, but obviously it's very useful if you're already in a containerized world and you're already using Docker in some form or manner. This is a very clean path to take towards going one step closer to Kubernetes. Again, none of the complexity involved with that is used. Ironically, this is showing a build packs IO graphic, but none of the build packs actually kicked in. So this is just a container that gets deployed to Cloud Foundry with very minimal effort. So yeah, those are the three apps that I thought I'll demonstrate to you folks today. Any other? Yeah, sorry.
For like the Docker images, like as far as so CF for Kate's, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't like it requires that you run as non-root for your containers. So basically your containers they can't be privileged. So you could add like a user with like a number in there, or like for Nginx, there is a Nginx unprivileged container image that you can pull from Docker. So basically for security purposes, to not have it run as root.
Yeah, and I think that was a lesson that all three of us learned the hard way when preparing for the stream. So thanks for mentioning that, Tiffany. I'm sure a lot of people will find that useful. Yeah, those are three apps that I had. Anything else you wanted to show, Shadrach? You mentioned a static site of some sort.
Yeah. And for our last trick, I'll be deploying two applications. So Tiffany deployed a Python application. I will be deploying a Django application because I know most people use the Django, which is a Python framework, in their daily workflow. So we are just trying to cover as much ground as we can. But for firstly, I would just deploy a Gatsby site because yeah. So this is a Gatsby application. Basic Gatsby application is based on a Gatsby starter theme by I've forgotten the creator's name, but it's an open source theme. So if I run ls, it's just basic how Gatsby should look like and how a Gatsby folder looks like, just maybe contents, node modules, static, etc. And there's a proc file. So I would like to just push. So to push, a regular way is just to do cf push and just call it Gatsby static sites. Then now I'm specifying a build pack because I needed to use the proc file build pack by the Paketo community.
Append number 9 to the name of the app for good luck.
Yeah, sure. I think I should do that.
Does this mean I've had bad luck this whole time?
Yeah,
you don't need it, Tiffany.
You don't need luck. yeah. So because I'm using a proc file to specify how Gatsby should start, how Cloud Foundry should start my Gatsby application. So if I should click on, Ram.
Have you spelled Paketo right?
Yeah, I think it's oh yeah. Thank you, PAKTO. Yeah. So that's the good luck working. Yeah. So if I should click on CF push, it automatically pushes whatever it's
So,
in
so
my.
what is proc file? That doesn't sound like a language or a framework.
Yeah. So Procfile, basically, you can use Procfile to specify how you want Cloud Foundry to deploy your application. So in my Procfile, I specified that it should deploy the public folder, which is basically how static files, static site generators work. So when you build a static file, or build an application, on a website built with, okay, that's an error. I will get back to that. So when you specify an application, when you build a Gatsby application or a Hexo or Hugo, when you build it, you basically convert every single form of JavaScript, HTML, etc., and pushes it into a public folder that is lighter than the entire thing. So it basically minifies the entire code so that whatever platform you are deploying to would be very, very easy. So why are we
I
having an
think
issue?
it's paketo-buildpack/proc file.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that.
So basically what you're saying is proc files can be used for like binaries and static files and all of these things. So
Yeah.
you have like a tiny web server in there that's serving the files, and then you have obviously all the Gatsby assets that are again static right next to it. And if
Yeah,
you serve all of
in the
these,
public folder. Yes. So we just
nice.
serve. So we just so we just deploy that particular folder, which is the public folder, and we get our application deployed live. So while this is goes through the normal steps. Since we specify the whole the build pack we need, it automatically detects that we need the proc file build pack, and hopefully it deploys it. Obviously, it will deploy it. Yeah. So this particular app is a simple Gatsby blog, a minimal blog that I just got from the Gatsby templates websites, and yeah, I'm deploying it. So currently, we've specified the build pack. So it uses the Paketo Procfile build pack, and the web. This is what is inside the Procfile. This web static sites. Then we deploy. It deploys every single thing that's inside the public and assets, public/assets folder.
Mm-hmm.
So it of course checks, goes through various layers of the build packs, builds the application which is built successfully, then it waits for the application, then it starts it. So this is application started, and to go to it, just click on the route link, just jump through this whole thing, and so this is it. This is actually a static site running on Cloud Foundry for Kubernetes. So like I said, Cloud Foundry is battle tested and available for any single framework, application, or language that you need to deploy in. So just have like, this is just a very simple blog built with Gatsby. So for the next thing, I would be deploying a Django application. Django, sorry for, yeah. You can see my screen, right?
I can.
Yeah,
we can.
Yeah, so we've deployed Python. What about Django? Django is one of the most popular, the most used Java Python framework that we have. So if I should run ls, so it also has a proc file, because I need proc file tells Cloud Foundry how to deploy, what start command, or how to deploy my application, an app folder, just basic how a Django applications folder should look like. So if I should run cf push Django demo 10, so I won't be specifying a build pack, because Python is a first class citizen in Cloud Foundry. So if I should run CS push Django demo 10, and it automatically starts deploying the application. And once I'm pretty sure you've noticed that we've not really done any serious configuration. We just run a single command and the application is live. Like, that is pretty cool, and that is like holy grail. When you come from places, various platform as a service that requires you to specify certain things. And I'm not going to mention any platform name, but you have specified so many things to deploy application. That's like very, very straightforward. But with Cloud Foundry, all you just have to do is just run a single command, cf push, then the name of the app, and you're good to go. You can also append various flags to the cf push command, like Ferram showed. So it basically detects that it's a Python app, so using the Python build pack to deploy by Paketo. Paketo is also it's a project of the Cloud Foundry Foundation. So if you see this is what is inside the proc file. So we're using Gonicon as our web server to deploy to start our application. This is exactly what is inside our proc file. So we'll be to deploy in about a few seconds. Fingers crossed, obviously. So our application has been built successfully, and instances starting. Few seconds. Yeah. Okay, so application has started. Regular format specifies the name, the route, the type, which is web, the start command, which is we're using Gonicon. So if I should click on this, jump through this. So this is basically just displaying hello world. This is a Django app that has been deployed on Cloud Foundry. And yeah, that's how you can deploy a Django application to Cloud Foundry. And that is the end of all the applications we're supposed to deploy. You see how fast we were able to deploy 10 different applications with different languages and framework on Cloud Foundry for Kubernetes without going through the stress that comes with Kubernetes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you need to learn more stuff, I'm just going to share a slide now.
I want to show something real quick before you do that.
Okay,
Absolutely.
sure.
I definitely think some details about internals would be good. And if someone can show how we can look at logs, that would be great as well.
Yeah, sure. This is also okay. When Tiffany shares, I'll do that.
Okay, cool. I was just quickly making a slide thing so I can show the different applications. Okay, cool. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, do you want me to show CF logs first?
Yeah, sure. That's important.
So if you run CF logs, you can see, okay, what I need to give it an app. So if I did CF logs on, say, like spring music, it's kind of hard to see, like if you're looking at it this way, like if you end up using like something to like pipe into and actually see like maybe different colors or whatnot, if you like it that way, it's kind of easier to look at. There, like if we look, I guess, there we go. At the top here, you can also basically, like if you're running this, like you can see like what's happening with it. Was there something specific you wanted to show with it, Ram?
Nope, just logs are a developer's best friend. So just wanted to show.
So like basically if something ends up failing, one of the things, there's like a few ways you can look at it. You can look at the logs here. You can do describe on the pod, which I'll show you in a second, like where all the pods and things are. And then like you can do like just your normal like logs and other things like that. So the way that CF currently works, at least, there's two primary namespaces that you have to kind of care about. So there's the CF system, and that is where like all the system things that are running for CF are. So I can show a slide in a sec, just kind of to just take a look at it. But like if you look on the CF on GitHub for CF for K8s, it'll show, there's a diagram there. So like there's things like you have Arini, you have the UAA, there's like a bunch of different things that run in that. And then right now, at least, all the applications that you run in CF workloads. So like right now, if we did, I have K, it's just mapped to Kubernetes, kubectl because I'm lazy. So if we do get namespace, there we go. We can see that there's different things that are created here. There's blob store, there's database, there's a CF system that I just mentioned, there's the CF workloads, and then there's also a staging one. And then when CF Fricates uses Istio for all the routing, so it ends up in creating one for Istio. There's KPack, which is the one that's used for building all of your images from your code. So like, for instance, if I did if I looked at the CF system, I'll just do, yeah, so like I did get also, there's a lot here, but like you can kind of see there's a bunch of different services created. There's different deployments for controllers. Like if you look again at that diagram, basically it shows what all these different things are. If you want to like know a little bit more about some of the specific things, there are videos that you can look at. Like there's one on, so we have at VMware, we have this thing called Tanzu TV, which people, both internal and external, will do streaming about different topics. So if you just go to the website tanzu.tv, under Tanzu Tuesdays, there's a few of them about CF Fricates. So now if we do the same thing, but instead, if we do it for CF workloads, you can see here that so for me, I only have 3 applications running. So you can see that there's the stateful set for all 3 of those. And then it has the services for all of them and the different pods. So there is this tool called Octant. It's open source. So if I just like make sure that I go here so that I open the right one. So if I do Octant, it will open it here. So basically with Octant, it's just like a web UI for you to look at your cluster, which can be pretty useful. So say if I were to go and look, I can see all the different contexts I have, and then we can look in here and you can see, okay, so if I look at my workloads, if my internet's being a little slow, I'm gonna shrink it down, just, you won't be able to read it, but just so you can kind of see what the different things are. So basically, if we look here, we can see like there's a job that has to do with Istio. We can see those pods that are there. You can dig into them. You can see what logs are, like what are the logs, and kind of see what's happening there. And then the thing that I wanted to show is like, so if I try, let's see, there we go. Okay, so if I tried using a privileged container to run, if I did a CF push on that, you'll see that it is doing the same stuff as like you normally might expect. And then you can see, okay, so it's trying to create my instances. It will end up doing this for a while. So like what you could do is you could do like a CF logs on, let's see, is it directly called? Yeah, on Nginx, you kind of can see, all right, there's some things happening here. If we did, if we look to see at my pods, you can see, okay, there's an error here. If we also look at, sorry for my thing popping up there, but if we also go back here and take a look, we can see, oh, hey, it's pending. And one of the nice things about Octant is like, if you're looking at your pods, normally you have to use some sort of watch command to see what's happening. Here. It's in real time, so you can see that things are happening. If we like take a look into it, you can kind of see, oh, look, hey, so with the proxy, okay, so that's ready. All right, so now we see, all right, what's happening. So the Nginx one, has the error container has run as non-root and image will run as root. So that's where that thing is happening, where it's privileged, it's trying to run as root, and you have, like, in order to change this, you'd have to run as basically some user that's not root. So the way to look at this, just like here on Kubernetes, is if I was to do describe because since it's not running, you wouldn't be able to actually see all the logs for it. So if I just did a describe on this one here, whoops. Oh my gosh, can I not? I can't type today. Okay, so yeah, basically you can, this shows like some of the same stuff, like you're looking through here and then you see, oh, hey, there's this error. So then if I were to be like, oh, well, come on. I need to remember, there we go. So like if I were to just run this one, oops, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I typed something wrong in here, but basically, like if you end up using the unprivileged one, it would end up running if I did not screw it up.
Yeah, so thank you, Tiffany, for that. Ram, do you want to quickly show us how people can connect to maybe services like database, etc.? You want to like quickly just give us a quick run through so we don't waste so much time on it.
Sure.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I guess since I have the slides real quick, I'm just going to quit because I added something to them. I'm just going to quickly show that so people can take screenshots and then we can go back to your thing. If
sure.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Where is my thing? There we go. Okay, so basically there's a bunch of different things that you can look at for getting started. So there's the cf-4-kates.io website. There's also like this getting started. So basically you can just go here. If you have questions, you can go to the Cloud Foundry Slack group, and there is a CF4Kates Slack channel. Or you could also go to release integration. Here are some links. The first one is for the blog of when CF4Kates first came out. Then there's Cloud Foundry's website. There's the CF4Kates.io that I mentioned. There are different tutorials that you can run. I don't know if you want to, either of you want to say something more about the tutorials.
Yeah. So if you also want to like know more stuff about how Cloud Foundry can improve your whole developer workflow when it comes to deploying apps, then you can check the tutorial.cloudfoundry.org. And if you want more practical and getting started with various languages tutorials, you can just check the Cloud Foundry Media publication. Yeah, I am myself and Ram, we keep uploading writing new blog posts, new tutorials on how to like use CF and CF4Kates for like various things, and also deploying various apps to CF4Kates. And the last is Tiffany, I think that's the queue.
Yeah. So Tanzu application service has like a Kubernetes section, so that is being worked on. It's in beta right now if you want to try it out. So basically it is built upon Cloud CF4Kates, but it adds in some other like integrations that are like just built in on top of that. So if you want to take a look at that, you can go there. And there's connected to Tanzu.tv, there's also like some guides and blogs that show you like how to go through CF4Kates. So this includes like the applications that we were running. So for Go and Java, they both came from the same, I accidentally did /test app, but for Go and Java, they all came from Cloud Foundry -sample. So you just delete the test app if you want to find the Java one, which was, there's like a pet clinic one in there. There's the music application too. So here's, if you want to take a screenshot of this, or it's going to be on the video later. And then the other ones, I don't have the Gatsby one in here because the link was not finished. So I don't actually know which Gatsby application it was, but here are the Python and PHP and Ruby ones. And if you want to bother, like, if you have Twitter and you want to like talk to us later after this, our Twitters are at the bottom there. And I will pass it back to Ram now.
Real quick.
Tiffany, before you pass it on, did you mean to show like a diagram or like a block diagram?
Oh, yeah.
Of those different components?
Okay, so yeah, this was the thing that I mentioned previously. So basically, like there may be later where you can have different namespaces for your stuff, but so in your cluster, you have the system namespace, which is the one that was the CF system. And then so there's like different things in there. So you have like, there's the Kpack, which we were mentioning, which uses the cloud native build packs. There's Pageto, which is the build packs that are written in Go. You have Istio, which like manages the inter-component communications, like things to do with security. And then there's like some of, if you've used Cloud Foundry before, like the things in blue are things, if I remember correctly, are things that were existing just in regular CF. So things like Arini, which is the scheduler for the Cloud Foundry application runtime. It basically runs your user applications in Kubernetes. UAA is user account authentication. There's FluentD, so for like log collector, Minios for like cloud storage, etc. And then on the right side is here, that's the app namespace. So that's your like CF, your CF workloads. So everything that you're running in there. And then since Kpack requires that registry, you have that app registry. When you first install things, you need to use YTT and CAP. So YTT basically, it handles, it's for YAML templating. So like there's a bunch of different templates that it ends up putting together. So that way you don't have to do each specific thing manually. And then CAP is kind of like a fancy version-ish of like kubectl, like when you're trying to like run an application with kubectl, but like it will follow your deployments, and then it's used here for running the YAML that is being created to actually deploy CF. So this actually makes me want to show one more thing because it reminded me of a thing on here, and then I'll pass it off. So if we go back to here. Basically when you it ends up creating some stuff. If you look in the Istio, actually, I don't remember exactly what it's called. Oops. So if we look at Istio system, you can see like all the different things that were created. So basically this Istio Ingress Gateway is so like for the way that I have mine set up, I have that you can, like I created a static IP in the beginning. So every time that I run this, it will always use that IP from, and then this is running GKE. So basically every single time it has this IP. And if you may remember like that zip IO path I had, it has that specific external IP in there. And then the last thing I wanted to show is if you do a kubectl get virtual service, you can see, and it's kind of hard to see because font size to like make it show, but you can see the things that are created with like CF system. You can see with like logging, UAA, but then you can also see I have those 3 applications that are working in CF workloads. So you can see how this is kind of connected with like what's running over there, what the routes are, and then here with having the Ingress gateway for those different things there. So yeah, shall I pass it off to you, Ram, now?
Yes, Ram, real quick.
Just remind me what I'm showing again.
Services.
So by way of background, Cloud Foundry makes use of what is known as the 12-factor app principle. So it provides a very clean separation between what your application is and what your services are. So the way you get services into Cloud Foundry is by making use of what is known as CF Marketplace. And the way you get services into Marketplace is basically like a platform operator workflow. So they decide what services need to be made available to you, and they attach what are known as plans for each of these services. CF for Kids makes use of the Open Service Broker API, and that basically helps create all of the services that can then be provisioned very easily and attached to your apps. So the different services that are available in this are a MySQL, a Redis, and a Mongo. And then I have all of these different plans that I can use. And so if your application requires a database, if your application requires a storage or a volume service, if your application requires, let's say, some logging infrastructure that's outside of the scope of the app itself, you basically use the services in the marketplace, you bind them to your app, and you just have to I mean, Cloud Foundry automatically exchanges environment variables with the application, and it will just be functional as long as you've configured the app programmatically to pick up these environment variables. So I'm sure that's like a lot to unpack, but given the limited time and scope of this video, there's definitely a lot of things that I think both Tiffany and Shadrach also have struggled to leave out rather than include. So we'll definitely follow up with more information in like future streams about each of these different aspects. There's even when Tiffany was explaining all of this stuff, and especially sort of getting into the internals of CF Kits, I definitely think we should do one about just installation, and so get into all of the details about each of those boxes, and so that folks have better context and in general better appreciation for all of the different moving parts.
Yeah.
And obviously services are its own thing, so details in future.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ram. Thank you, Tiffany. Lastly, if you need to like learn more stuff about CF Kids, we have a couple of videos on the YouTube channel, Cloud Foundry YouTube channel, so you can just check that and see setting. Like we have a couple of videos already made, and we are updating our library with more videos. And if you need to also check out certain tutorials, you can also go to tutorials.cloudfoundry.org. You can also check the Cloud Foundry Foundation Medium publication for like more. If you're more of a reader, you can just check the Cloud Foundry Medium publication for more tutorials. So yeah, that's with all these. I mean, we've done so much. We have come to the end of the live stream. Yeah, it took us a while to plan this, and I'm just excited. I'm so happy that we've been able to pull this off. And thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Tiffany, for always answering our call at early hours of the morning. Thank you, Ram.
Thanks for staying up late.
Yeah, thank you, Ram, for staying up late. So yeah, with this, I would just say thank you, and we're looking forward to doing more live streams and seeing more people join our live stream. And yeah, bye everybody. See you folks
also,
next time.
For YouTube, there's also the VMware Tanzu one, which also has some CF stuff. You can get to some of those things at least from tanzu.tv, but I don't think not all of them.
Yeah, so just check out tanzu.tv for a few of the CF videos.